If you've played old school Runescape before, you may know that the vast majority of the NPCs you meet are fans of consuming alcohol. Across every region, you can find several bars scattered throughout the world, and I'm here to find the best bar in all of Gielinor. Today we're going to explore the bars in the Fremennik region, in which we have 5 to visit. But what are the qualifications that make a great bar? I've broken it down into a simple scoring system based on a few key aspects. We'll start with the location of the bar, followed by the design and layout, and then finally the menu variety. With all that being said, let's get into it. Today we're going to start out in Keldagrim, the land of the dwarves. The dwarves are known for their love for beer, and that's clearly shown in their city, where they actually have 2 bars, one on each side of the river Kelda. Keldagrim is divided by this river, and in more ways than one, as the western side is known to house the wealthy half of the city, while the eastern side is considered the poorer half. The first bar we have today lies in the western side of the city, called King's Axe Inn. Being in the city of the dwarves, there are a ton of amenities to see here, especially on this side of the river. From a bank, to Sero's quality armor shop, and Cintiri's quality weapons shop, just walking distance from the bar, there certainly isn't a shortage of places to check out here in Keldagrim. In addition to these local amenities, getting here is also quite simple, via the Dwarven minecart system connected directly to the famous Grand Exchange in Varrock, the capital of Misthalin. You are required to start the giant dwarf quest in order to access this city, but besides that hurdle, I think it's fair to give the King's Axe Inn a 4 out of 5 for location. The exterior showcases a unique dwarven design, with its gridded wooden beams adorned with large metal rivets making up the roof and the walls built up in decorated stone. Covered in uniquely shaped and sized windows, the styling is really only seen here in Keldagrim, and it is a breath of fresh air compared to most bars we've seen. Moving inside, the design language continues with clean stone walls, 6 tables, and 9 red accented stone chairs to accompany them. The bar is also carved from stone with gold-trimmed pumps on top, matching the clean aesthetic of the rest of the bar. The layout is quite reasonable, and the furniture seems high quality enough, although it is lacking a bit of color, which does make it a little bit boring. Curiously enough, it seems as though the dwarves can't really decide on a proper scale for the furniture they use. As my friend and Golden Gnome winner The Skuld brought to my attention, they have shorter chairs, tables, and windows, while simultaneously having a normal human height bar, shelves, and bookshelves. I don't know about you, but I think they would be much better off just committing to a particular scale. I mean, who here is going to reach those tankards anyways? Heading upstairs, we can find 3 more tables, 2 bedrooms for lodging, 1 containing 2 beds, and the other just containing a single, and the entire upstairs is covered in a seemingly red carpet, and it's a great stylistic choice in my opinion that differentiates it from the first floor. Although I do wish this color was down there too. There is also a completely separate bar here, which is the first bar we've seen to have 2 bars in one building, 1 on each floor. But I suppose that showcases the value of alcohol for the dwarves. Not only do they have 2 bars in their main city, but one of those bars has 2 bars inside. Now that's properly redundant. There are so many great things to say about the design and layout of this bar, as it clearly has its own bespoke styling, proper lodging, and a more than adequate level of access to alcohol for the customers. I do wish there was a bit more decoration or color used in the interior first floor, as it feels a bit like drinking in a clean prison cell. But besides that, I would give this bar a solid 4 out of 5 for design and layout. Having a seat here at the King's Axe Inn, they have a modest selection of alcohol for you to choose from. To start, we have the tried and true generic beer of Gielinor. which is a welcome staple in any bar. Next, we have the humble jug of wine. Especially great if you have a sensitivity to hops, but you still need something to drink. Lastly, we have the iconic Dwarven Stout, which when consumed you'll notice a mild improvement to your mining and smithing abilities, while at the same time making you a bit weaker overall. This leaves the King's Axe Inn with a total menu score of 3 out of 5 for having 3 drinks available but no food. Wrapping up with this popular dwarven spot, this bar certainly has a lot going for it. From its excellent location in the heart of the dwarven capital, to its impressive styling and interior layout, and its above-average menu variety, there's no wonder the King's Axe Inn gets a total score of 11 out of 15. I would have no issue with recommending this bar to anybody looking to get a drink and have a nice place to stay overnight. Luckily, there are some available food options within the city, but you will have to cross the River Kelda to find it. Once you do cross that northern bridge in Keldagrim, if you just head south, you'll find yourself in front of this city's second bar, the Laughing Miner Pub. There isn't really much to be said here regarding the location of the bar that hasn't already been addressed with the King's Axe Inn that is quite literally a stone's throw away. So we'll keep it simple and give this bar the same score of 4 out of 5 for location. The outside of this bar looks quite similar to the last one as well, with the same industrial-looking riveted wood roofing and stone walls with the same unique window shapes. The interior, however, does look a bit more simple over here, as we can see a more empty-looking layout with 3 tables in total, and more basic-looking stone chairs when compared to the King's Axe Inn, which does make sense. This side of Keldagrim is considered to be the poorer side of town, so it's pretty reasonable that they would use lower quality furniture. This bar also has an exposed fireplace toward the center of the main room, presumably used for cooking, considering the various bits of hanging meat on the walls. Looking upstairs, we have something particularly special up here. One of the 3 total breweries in all of Gielinor, completely open for the public to make any brews they want. This is always a great find, and there aren't many places that just give you this opportunity, and for free, no less. Just south of this, there seems to be a kitchen with lots of hanging meat and a large counter in the center. Lastly, to the east, we can find a balcony with some romantic outdoor seating. How lovely! Overall, this bar is quite similar to the previous, but there is a distinct lack of quality compared to the King's Axe Inn. Normally, I would have found this bar to be more of a 3 out of 5 for design and layout, but with the brewery just upstairs, I believe that moves it up to match the previous bar's score of 4 out of 5 for design and layout. Now let's have a look at the menu options here at the Laughing Miners Pub. To start, there's one beverage available that I'm sure you could guess. You know what? Go ahead, viewers at home, make your guesses right now. All right, put down those pencils. Did you happen to guess the Dwarven Stout? Well, if you did, then congratulations. You're wrong. It's just the standard beer of Gielinor. Beyond that, there is one food item available here, that being stew. This menu variety seems a bit, familiar, huh? Where have I seen this before? Anyways, given this bar offers one type of drink and one food, that gives it a total score of 2 out of 5 for menu variety. Now, I know that you can technically make any beverage you want upstairs in the brewery, but it technically isn't on the menu that the bar offers for sale, and I think that only really functions as an extra point for menu variety if that's the only option you have, like in the Green Ghost Inn in Mauritania, for example. Being that this bar is a similar but poorer version of the King's Axe Inn, there's no question that the Laughing Miner pub gets a total score of 10 out of 15, or just 1 point shy than its richer brother. Overall, this is definitely a decent bar to check out. There isn't too much excitement to see, but if you just need some refreshments after a long day of work, or if you're planning on learning how to make your own beer, you really can't go wrong here. Oh, wait a second. I completely forgot that there's this cat here in the main room of this bar. Well, it looks like there's a trap door here too. Huh. Well, I wonder if there's some lodging down here or something. Let's check it out. No. No. No, it can't be. No! It looks like we've finally made it to the final Rat Pit Bar, here in the depths below Keldagrim. Unfortunately, just like most of the Rat Pit bars we've seen, this location is pretty rough, being locked behind a quest to access Keldagrim, and then locked behind starting the worst quest in the entire game before accessing the actual rat pits. Not to mention, you genuinely have to pass through a properly decent, clean bar just to get here. Just like what we've seen before, this underground location is disgusting, smells worse than you think, and deserves no more than 1 out of 5. Now, taking a look at the design of this bar... Whoa, wait a second. This is actually like a proper bar. There's a proper exterior, just like the other bars we've found here in Keldagrim. And taking a look inside, although we still do have this strange mix of human and dwarven-sized furniture, it really does appear to look like a proper bar. There is a dirt floor, which is absolutely to be expected, but this place is significantly more put together than I could have ever imagined. There's only 2 tables here with 6 chairs in total, but honestly, for a small bar like this, that's actually pretty decent. It's kind of hard to believe, but the Keldagrim Rat Pit Bar gets a 3 out of 5 for design and layout. Seriously impressive. Grabbing a seat here in the main room, the menu variety is nothing extraordinary, with the standard generic beer of Gielinor offered as the beverage of choice, and a nice hot bowl of stew if you're looking for something to eat. Exactly the same variety seen in the Laughing Miner pub, and all of the other Rat Pit bars for that matter. Being this bar offers 1 drink and 1 food item, that leaves us with a total score of 2 out of 5 for menu variety. And I am still suspicious of the contents of the stew they serve at these places. We can see that there's meat hanging from the wall. Presumably that meat's being used for the stews. Could this be rat meat? No. Probably not, right? Right? I genuinely can't believe I'm saying this, but this bar really isn't so bad. And in fact, this is certifiably the best Rat Pit Bar in all of Gielinor. From its, dare I say, moderately appealing design choices to a functional menu variety, the Keldagrim Rat Pit Bar gets a total score of 6 out of 15, which is great to see. Now, I'm not sure I would really recommend anybody come visit this bar, as it's really just a worse version of the bar directly above it, but if you are one of the 3 people who somehow enjoy the Rat Pit content, well, I suppose this would be the best choice for you if you're looking for a convenient place to drink. Just don't expect to see me here again. Ever. Oh man. All this walking around to different bars is seriously tiring me out. If only there was a better way to get around Gielinor. Whoa! What was that?
again! Oh, it's going so fast I could barely see it.
Hey there, son. You looking for a ride? Hop on, kid.
This episode of Gielinor's Greatest Bars is sponsored by Gnome Air. Being the only airline in all of Gielinor, Gnome Air is always there when you need to fly. Warning, Gnome Air is not responsible for bodily harm related to gnome glider crashes, air pollution, unexpected weather conditions, or emotional damage dealt by the pilot during flight. Fly responsibly. Leaving Keldagrim from the southern entrance and heading southwest, we find ourselves in the city of Rellekka, the largest city of the Fremennik province and home of the Fremennik people. Right in the heart of this town, we can see a large, powerful building, that being the legendary Rellekka Longhall Bar. This location is just about as good as it gets when it comes to this region, as it connects to all of the provinces by ship, and also connects right near Keldagrim. Due to this, I think it's pretty safe to give this bar a perfect 5 out of 5 for location. Having a look at the design of this bar, the exterior is a familiar sight, with its wooden Fremennik design that is reminiscent of the Longhall Bar found in Barbarian Village. There is a small decoration at the top of the building, but there really isn't too much to see out here beyond that. Moving inside, the design language remains roughly the same, but we are presented with a new concept we've yet to see in one of these bars: a stage for live entertainment. It's kinda crazy to think that this may be the only bar in the world of Gielinor that's capable of supporting live music. But alas, that's the reality we live in. Or, I suppose it's the reality that these characters live in, because this is indeed a video game and none of this is real. In the main seating area, there are 4 long tables without accompanying chairs for whatever reason, and not 1, but 2 fire pits in the center. One presumably for cooking and the other for heating, I guess. There's also a generic wooden crate-looking bar that we've seen before, and of course the main stage, with 16 chairs for audience seating. All on top of a less than exceptional dirt floor. This is also the first bar we've seen that actually has a polling booth conveniently placed beside the audience seating area, which is a fine addition, but perhaps a little bit suspicious because everybody that's going to be voting there is absolutely intoxicated, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Overall, I feel that the design of this bar, it's a bit bland, and deserving of more of a 3 out of 5, but given the unique stage area, I think that gives it 1 more point for a grand total of 4 out of 5 for design and layout. I am curious when the next show is supposed to be playing, though, as I haven't seen this stage used in, quite some time. Unfortunately, there is no tableside seating here, so I suppose I'll just stand by one of these tables here and take a look at Rellekka Longhall Bar's menu selections. First of all, we have the famous generic beer of Gielinor, always a good start. Next, we have well, I guess it's a full tankard of the exact same beer. Okay, I suppose it's good that they offer different sizes. Okay, what do we have next? Oh my god! Is this seriously a menu option? People could just buy a keg? Huh. Well, I suppose if you feel like slipping into an alcohol-induced coma, you can also order an entire keg of the stuff as well. Although, it's not quite as bad as it may seem, as this keg only weighs about 20 kilos, or roughly 45 pounds. Translating that to different keg sizes in real life, this seems to most closely match the Cornelius keg, which only holds about 19 liters or about 5 gallons of beer. Compare that to a standard-sized keg, otherwise known as a half keg for some reason, which holds about 58 liters or 15.5 gallons of beer and can weigh up to 76 kilos or 160 pounds. With all that out of the way, given that there are 3 different drink options here at the Rellekka Longhall Bar, that leaves us with a 3 out of 5 for menu variety. I'm not sure exactly who is out here looking to drink 5 gallons of beer in one sitting, but perhaps it's unwise to underestimate the Fremenniks. In summary, the Rellekka Longhall Bar is certainly impressive to say the least. From its optimal location at the heart of the largest Fremennik town, to its recognizable and iconic styling turned up a notch with the existence of a live stage within the bar, and finally a selection of beer sizes for everyone. This bar gets a whopping final score of 12 out of 15. I think this is a bar that everybody should visit at least once in their journey, as there's so many memories to be made here, and unlike its cheap knockoff found in the barbarian village, this bar actually manages to serve alcohol. What a concept! Taking a ship northwest, we arrive on the island of Miscellanea, where our next bar lies just below the castle. If you enter the main courtyard and look to the southern wall, you will find a trap door that leads down to the Miscellanea and Etceteria dungeon, where the Esoterican Arms bar resides. This dungeon is not really much of a dungeon anymore, as after the events of the quest The Throne of Miscellanea, people started to utilize this dungeon for shelter against the strong winds found on the surface of the island. Now, this cave system is home to both the Fremennik people as well as the dwarves. Unfortunately, we don't have access to this dungeon until the Royal Trouble quest is completed. Therefore, due to the quest restriction, as well as having to go through the castle and climb down the trapdoor, I'm going to give the Esoterican Arms a 2 out of 5 for location, as there technically is supposed to be some housing down here for some of the locals, so at least they have some decent access. But for outsiders like you and me, it's quite burdensome to get here. Having a look at the outside of this bar, there really isn't anything special to see out here. It's a wooden shack with a straw roof and a squared off shape. It's about as basic as it gets. Moving inside, my attitude remains mostly the same. There's 2 tables in here, one of them nearly blocking access to the main point of entry, which with the open fire pit just a meter away from the table, I would consider this to be a serious fire hazard. This bar is the same wooden crate style that we've seen plenty of times already, and I can't tell if the floor is just hard-packed dirt or clay or something. Either way, I'm not particularly impressed with the design and layout of the Esoterican Arms, and I'll have to give this bar a 2 out of 5 for design and layout. It's not particularly offensive or anything, but I would consider the layout barely functional, and bordering on dangerous for absolutely no reason. Just move the table. Taking a seat at the large, obtrusive table found near the front door, let's have a look at the menu selection here. To start, we have, of course, the generic beer of Gielinor. Next, we have a jug of wine, which, again, is great to see if you've got a sensitivity to hops or something. Third on the menu, we have the classic cup of tea. Honestly, surprising that we don't see this more often in other bars, but it's a good touch here. Finally, we have a new drink on the block, a nice glass of cider. When consumed, you'll feel your health replenish slightly, and you'll also notice your farming abilities will improve slightly, while your attack and strength are diminished a little bit. This is a pretty cool find, and honestly, this whole menu selection is pretty decent. Considering we have more than 3 drinks available, but again, no food for sale, that leaves us with a total menu score of 3 out of 5 for the Esoterican Arms. Wrapping up with this underground bar, it's pretty cool to see this place offering a decent variety of beverages, but it's seriously held back by its accessibility restrictions as well as its mediocre styling both inside and out. Therefore, the Esoterican Arms gets a total score of 7 out of 15, or just 1 point above the Ratpit Bar in Keldagrim we saw earlier. I don't really know why an outsider would come visit this bar, considering the vastly better options found throughout the Fremennik provinces, but if you happen to be in the area and have a craving for some fresh cider, I suppose it wouldn't be so bad to just stop here for a drink. Just keep an eye on that fire pit. That's all I'm gonna say. As an honorable mention here at the end, I would like to address the Lighthouse store on the second floor of the Lighthouse owned by Jossik here on the peninsula west of Rellekka and north of the Barbarian Outpost. In order to access the Lighthouse, you must have completed the Horror from the Deep quest. But when you are here and speak with Jossik, you will have a large variety of items for sale. Some of them including various different types of alcohol, including gin, brandy, vodka, grog, whiskey, dwarven stout, wizard's mind bomb, and of course the official beer of Castle Wars, the Greenman's Ale. I'm not too sure where Jossik is getting all of this inventory, but I'm sure it has something to do with his ownership of the Lighthouse here in the Fremennik province. Perhaps cargo ships that come and go pay him with surplus supplies that he then sells on his own, although I would be curious how many customers he has actually climbing all the way to the Lighthouse just to procure his goods. Either way, if you are passing by the Lighthouse and you're in dire need of some alcohol, Jossik is here to provide. Now for the final rankings. Starting in last place with a meager, yet still impressive 6 out of 15 points, we have the Keldagrim Ratpit Bar. Not bad for what it is, but still a comparably poor place to be, all things considered. Next up, in fourth place with 7 out of 15 total points, we have the Esoterican Arms below the Castle of Miscellanea. A half-decent spot if you're local, but otherwise it's pretty drab. In third place, with 10 out of 15 points, we have the Laughing Miner Pub in Keldagrim. This bar really wasn't bad, and the brewery on the second floor was a nice touch, but otherwise it's a bit lacking in the menu variety. In second place, with 11 out of 15 points, we have the King's Axe Inn, also in Keldagrim. A slightly better version of the previous bar, but otherwise nothing too crazy here. Finally, the best bar in all of the Fremennik province is the iconic Rellekka Longhall Bar, with a substantial 12 out of 15 points. A must-visit for anybody in the area, or if you're just looking for cool new bars to explore. With a stage for live entertainment to its incredible location, it's definitely a hit. Plus, you have the opportunity to drink more alcohol than your body is likely capable of consuming by ordering yourself a keg, or two if you're feeling particularly parched. And that's it. How did your favorite bar stack up in my rankings? According to the poll I held a few weeks ago here on the channel, it looks like most of you were assuming the Rellekka Longhall Bar was going to be the winner. Do you agree? If not, let me know in the comments below. Next, we'll be exploring the bars in the desert, Tirnwyn, and wilderness regions, which just barely won out the last poll by only 2 votes out of 106. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to get notified when I make more content like this. I would also like to mention that if you are interested in supporting me and my future content creation even further, I now have channel memberships available with 3 tiers to choose from. Special thanks to Sean James and Kaisir Kenopsia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, for subscribing at the Legend tier to my channel. I seriously appreciate your guys' support. It means the world to me. But with all that being said, thanks again, and of course, take it easy.